where do we get our sense of who we are? Where do we get our sense of what our life is about? Is it not from social mirrors, parents, siblings, teachers, leaders, the media, heroes, models? Isn't that possibly the case of a mistaken identity? Think about it. Ask yourself, where do I get my knowledge of myself? And what my vision in life is? What is it that I am really about? What is truly important to me? In habit 2, begin with the end in mind, is a clear and powerful declaration that you are the guardian, the protector of your identity, of your future. In essence, habit 1 is the awareness that you are the programmer. It's the budding awareness that the best way to predict your future is to create it. Habit 2 decides what your life is about, and everything would flow from that. Every decision, large and small, would be a function of that. Not only what your identity is, but what your purpose is. What is your vision of what your life is about? You are the programmer, then write the program. Now, another interesting thing about life is that it is always created twice. Always. Whether you take conscious control of the creation or not, you'll get your definition of yourself and of your purpose, your meaning, from the social mirror. So it was already done. Or perhaps you get it from the social agenda of people that are pressing upon you now. Or perhaps you get it from the mentoring of your childhood, or the mentoring of your first leaders in business, your first managers, or your teachers in school. The first creation is an intellectual creation. The first creation is of the mind and of the spirit. The second creation is a physical creation. This building that we're in now was created in every detail before the earth was touched. If that was not the case, the price of the building doubled because of expensive change orders. Anyone want to share your experiences with expensive change orders? Why they came about? Okay?
I'm in the restaurant business, and we build a lot of restaurants. We built a restaurant a year ago that had severe access problems. We didn't plan in advance. We let external forces drive our decisions, zoning, the city, etc. And we've got a situation there where we've got a $600,000 restaurant, nobody can come in or leave.
Well, in a sense,
the food is good.
Great food, but people just can't get access to it. But really, you can get your mind so focused upon, say, the pressures that you're under, political, civic, community, and get so kind of embroiled in that battle that it starts to dominate your consciousness. And then that begins to shape your whole approach.
Now we've gone in and worked with people, and we've taken the time and the planning necessary to make a change, and it's going to cost, $40,000, $50,000 to make that change. But in order to make the return on the restaurant, we've got to do it.
I think you can see the applicability of the idea to any field of endeavor, really. I have a friend who's an orthodontist. I have paid his mortgage for the last 25 years. Because all our kids have my teeth and my wife's mouth. Dick, how do you do this? He said, first, I get a clear image of what that mouth should look like when I finish. Every decision is governed by it. Just like the construction person comes right onto the site, the first thing goes to the blueprint. The blueprint is all based on the artistic rendering of what the place should look like, see? How many here have ever done jigsaw puzzles? How useful is it to have the end in mind? I find that the key is to begin with the end in mind. This is so basic with organizations. The fundamental reason, the root reason why organizations are so split is they do not share a common vision. Do you want to have an interesting experience? Just go to your family tonight and ask them. Be sincere. They'll think you flipped out for a moment, wondering where you're coming from, but say to them, in one sentence, what is the purpose of our family? And then write down what they say. Just read the different purposes. What is the purpose of our marriage? What is its essential reason for being? And then when you go to your organization, to your work, ask the first 10 people you meet, bring out your trusty clipboard and just say, I'm doing a little survey. Could you help me? One question. What is the purpose of our organization? And then you work with a small work group. What is the purpose of this work group? What is the purpose of the board of directors? What is the purpose of this executive committee? What is its essential role? What are its high priority goals? My friends, I have done this scores of times, even with the executive cabinets of companies in the Fortune 100 classification. Big companies, sophisticated organizations. And in almost all cases, the top executives are absolutely chagrined, embarrassed. They cannot believe the different descriptions that are being given as to purpose, as to vision. You think, what's going on? I mean, really. And you could have a mission statement on the wall, or on little plaques on their desks, or in their wallet, or purse, or whatever. It is not central to the culture. The whole organization cannot begin with the end in mind. What if everybody participated in the use of their proactive capacity to create that vision, and to participate in it, and to create it over a period of time to where they really feel it? That is our vision. We share it together. To begin with the end in mind is the most important decision. And you know, this applies to every field of human endeavor. If you don't take charge of the first creation, it will be done for you, even for you personally. And you could live your whole life based upon a very limited, straight-jacketed notion of who you are, based on a few social mirrors, and have never unleashed the talent, the unique gifts that you may have been given. Okay, now, I think we have come to recognize the power of the space, and that the most significant use of it should always be, what is it I am about? And what are the principles I want to operate my life on? Would you not agree? Because every other decision will be influenced by those decisions. I want to use a metaphor. If I can borrow your glasses, please. Can you see without them? Barry? I suggest that whatever you decide should be put at the center of your life. The reason why it is the most significant decision is that it affects all decisions. It would be analogous to a lens through which a person would see life. Everything that I look at through this lens is affected by it. Eventually, you become unaware of the lens. Fish discover water last. Most paradigms are like that. They are assumptions you never question. That is just the way things are. So the lens I look through governs how I see everything. All right, now let's just say that I put my work at the center of my life. Everything is oriented around my work. All relationships, all pleasures, everything has to do with my work. Tell me, let's say I'm in the sales business. My work is the center. How do I see my relatives? Contacts, customers, referral sources. How would you perceive your little children, let's say, with this pair of glasses on? You're work-centered. There are obstacles. Oh, I have to deal with that. What an interference. Go through the motions, you know. Try to do my family thing so that I can get back to work. Now look, if I were family-centered, how would I see work?
As an interference, an obstacle.
Yeah, or, positively, as a means to take care of the family. I'm family-centered. That's another pair of glasses. But you never question your center. It's a paradigm of life. It is a pair of glasses. If you're spouse-centered, if you're family-centered, if you're work-centered, if you're enemy-centered, if you're possession-centered, what happens? We could go through this analysis and analyze every alternative center, or even a combination of them. And literally, I'll guarantee, at the conclusion of it all, it will cause tremendous imbalance. Your life will be unfulfilled. We must come up with the center that enables us to have more of the good in every other center. What could that be? What center would enable you to lay hold on every good thing in every other center? Think for a moment. It would have to deal with whatever change came along, because it would be changeless. It would have to deal with something that would give you a constant frame of reference to make all decisions by. It would have to give you the unleashing of your power, high levels of capacity, of mental and emotional and social power, where you become a force, the creative force of your own life, where you become someone who influences for good other people's lives, who models and mentors others toward a center that they themselves select. What would this center be?
The principles.
Why do you say principles?
They don't change.
Okay, they don't change. They're changeless. In fact, even as we discuss this right now, my friends, you are listening through your center. Saying principle-centered doesn't make it so. You are listening to principles through your center. The key is not just a principle. It's a balanced set of principles that deals with the totality of our nature. I suggest the essence, the highest essence of habit 2, to begin with the end in mind, is the development of a personal mission statement, a personal philosophy, a personal constitution, a personal purpose statement, whatever you want to call it. I seriously think that is the most important activity of habit 2. I think it should contain 2 basic parts. What is it I am about? And how do I go about it? What are the principles upon which I operate? It should deal in both of those parts with the essence of who am I? And you have the capacity through your mind to separate the social mirror from that question. I know what other people say about me. I know what they say I should be. But I have to decide. We lead 3 lives. Our public life. Here we are here. This is our public life. Our private life. When we go home, we can watch television, we can read. That's a private life. But when you're dealing with the development of a personal constitution, you have to go into the deep inner life. The life that influences the other 2. The life where you decide the most fundamental issues of your life. Search your own hearts, for out of it flow the issues of your life. It's a more secret life. No one knows the thoughts and intents of your heart. You alone have that awareness. And you can step in on your own deep internal life. You can step in on it. You can take charge of it. My friends, think about it. Study the lives of people that rose above difficulty, abuse, contention, dysfunctional homes. Study the lives of great figures in history who have really made a difference, and you'll almost always find they did profound work on the inner life. The private life is not the inner life. I could live a very private, independent life and enjoy it. It could be relaxing to me. It could be pleasurable. It could be my own life, my own choices. That is not the deep inner life at all. The deep inner life requires going inside and looking at your private and your public life, at both of them. It goes inside to look at your own motive structure. Many people, unless they are in pain because of something they care about that is not being fulfilled, will never even go into their deep inner life. In a sense, they're being lived. They're not living. And Gandhi, at one time he said, a person cannot do right in one department of life whilst attempting to do wrong in another department. Life is one indivisible whole. Listen to his statement. A person cannot do right in one department of life. For instance, the public life, to have the right appearance, see, whilst attempting to do wrong in the private life, or say the deep inner life. Why? Life is one indivisible whole, and people feel it. The vibes are sent out. So, my friends, I suggest work on 2 things, vision and principles. And this will be profound, deep work. Get perspective. Take time. Be patient. Give yourself several months, at least weeks. You've got to pay a price. Why? Because there's so much scarring. There's so much history, social and psychic history, already in you. You probably will discover pockets in your life that you don't want to look at. Closets, motives that really are not of the highest order from your own standard. There are defense mechanisms that are used. In other words, prepare to pay the price. I find to get into nature is extremely helpful. To get alone in nature, to begin to look deeply at yourself. In fact, one of the stories I really like was this person who was filled with some kind of disease he couldn't identify. Went to see his friend who was also a physician. Can you help me? I don't know what it is. I just don't feel good. It's just a kind of a general malaise, and I don't have much energy. Can you help me? The friend knew this person well. He talked for a period of time, and then he said, yes, I think I can help you. I have 4 prescriptions, but you must follow them implicitly. Where is your favorite place? Well, what do you mean? When you were a boy, what did you look forward to the most? Where did you like to be? He said, oh, the beach. I mean, all year long we would think about the beach. And every chance we had, we would go to the beach. We would have family times. I did so much. He said, fine. He writes out the prescriptions. Go to the beach and spend the day following these prescriptions. What do you medicine? Follow the prescriptions. You're kidding. Wait till you see my bill. You'll know. But you can't take anything. No radio, no reading material, no books, no magazines. Just get deep into nature. First prescription. You take at 9, the next one at 12, the next one at 3, and the next one at 6. He arrives at the beach, walks down from his car, pulls out the prescription. Listen carefully. 2 words. Listen carefully. What could this possibly mean? See, he's in his private life, isn't he? I mean, I've listened to everything I can hear right now. I'm finished. And I have to do this for 3 hours? Okay, I heard those birds. Yeah, good. I hear the surf coming in. I can even hear sand crabs if I listen very carefully. I can hear them. I can hear the wind blowing. I can hear the rustle. Isn't that interesting? The more I listen, the more I can hear. He's starting to silence himself, to get quiet, to slow down this frantic pace of his public life and his disenchanted private life. He almost, after a period of time, becomes euphoric. He's so peaceful. He just hasn't felt this way. He's getting deeper into his inner life. He's almost loath to take the second prescription because he has really enjoyed this first one. He pulls out the second one. 3 words this time. Try reaching back. That throws him. What could this possibly mean? Try reaching back. Well, maybe I should start thinking about the past. So he started to get into his memory. You know, I remember after school, I can remember the excitement we had. I can remember my brother. What a choice association. He became very nostalgic, very emotional. He remembered running down the beach after school with his brother, just screaming like wild people. They just couldn't get enough of this fresh air, this scene, this freedom and excitement, and how they would just kind of dance around and hug each other, and they would have family times. And they would play in the surf and the water and build castles, and this thing went on for 3 more hours. And he was even more loath to move to the third prescription. This time, though, he was really deep into his inner life, which contains so much of memory. Third prescription. This was the tough prescription. This was the core prescription. The other 2 were in preparation for this one. This drove him into his deep inner life with enormous force. Re-examine your motives. For 3 hours, re-examine his motives. What is my center? What is my vision? What is my mission? What is my core? What is it I'm about? This was tough, really tough. He began to observe a pattern. He began to discover that he had put at the center of his life himself, his own need fulfillment, that he was selfish. Even some of his so-called selfless activities were selfish in that he wanted to be known for them. There was nothing anonymous, deeply anonymous in his service to others. His private life was different than his public. He would put on that he was caring, but inwardly there was some selfish motive that was being served inside himself. And he started to come to an awareness, his malaise, his boredom, his disease was of the spirit, the selfishness of his life, that his whole motive structure was improperly centered, not on true contribution. And he spent much of that time reorganizing, reorienting, replanting new motives, new desires, those that were congruent with higher principles. And that was the creative part. He started using his imagination instead of just living out of his memory. You see, when you live out of your memory, you focus upon the past. When you live out of your imagination, you focus on the future. What lies behind us is nothing compared to what lies within us and ahead of us. But it took this self-analysis, this self-awareness, this self-exploration to get him to the point where he was really willing to explore, to examine his motives, and to cultivate new ones. When 6 o'clock came, he had finished. For the first time, he knew, I know what my life is about. I know what I'm not about, too. I know the cause of my problem. I haven't yet healed it, but I know what the direction is I want to take. So he takes out the last prescription, and it says, now write your troubles in the sand. He takes a piece of shell and goes to the high water mark and makes a few markings on the sand. And the last sentence is, and the tide was coming in. It's a beautiful story. It contains a lot of real wisdom in it. It teaches you, don't start writing your mission statement yet. Prepare to write it. Now, maybe you've been preparing for a long period of time. Maybe you've done some of this deep inner work, and you're prepared for it. Everyone is at a different place. Try to tap into your sense of vision. What are your unique gifts? Use self-knowledge. Take time. Listen to those who see the potential in you. Listen to them. Sense their affirmation of you. Study the lives of people who have inspired you, of heroes. What is it you so admired? So you can get a sense of what principles you want to build upon. You want to write a mission statement that is timeless. You want to write something that will never change. Now, in fact, as you mature and your consciousness raises and so forth, you will change it. But you write it as if it will never change. That's the source of integrity. And integrity is the source of power. In your integrity around a balanced set of principles that you yourself have settled on.